the dire wolf. An Ice Age legend that even inspired the giant wolves in Game of Thrones. Extinct for thousands of years, it resurfaced in the spotlight with the news that it had been brought back to life by scientists. But are we really facing a real case of de-extinction? Or is what was recreated far from being the original animal? Today, we will explore this controversial and fascinating story, separating what we know from the points that still generate doubts. The dire wolf, known to science as Anacion dirus and previously classified as Canis dirus, has lived during the Pleistocene, around 125,000 to 9,500 years ago. It inhabited mainly North America, being one of the main predators of its time. Larger and more robust than modern wolves, it weighed around 70 kilograms and measured up to 1.5 meters in length. Its wider skull and powerful jaws indicate that it was capable of hunting large prey, such as bison and even baby mammoths. Despite its strength, the dire wolf disappeared at the end of the last ice age. Possible causes include climate change, the extinction of its natural prey, and competition from gray wolves, which were more adaptable. The arrival of the first humans on the continent may also have influenced this process. The dire wolf lived alongside an impressive array of fauna: giant sloths, saber-toothed tigers, wild horses, woolly mammoths, and other large herbivores from the Pleistocene megafauna. These animals lived in a very different ecosystem than we do today, making it hard to imagine how a predator like it would fit into the modern world. The company responsible for this project is Colossal Biosciences, a biotechnology company based in the United States. It was founded by Ben Lamb, a technology entrepreneur, and renowned geneticist George Church from Harvard University. Colossal's goal is bold: to use cutting-edge genetic engineering such as CRISPR technology to try to resurrect extinct species, or at least recreate organisms with similar characteristics. In addition to the dire wolf, the company is working on other ambitious projects, such as the woolly mammoth and the dodo. But despite the impressive marketing, the processes are long, complex, and do not always result in a version identical to the original animal. The project did not involve direct cloning, as in science fiction films. According to Colossal, what was done was a comparison between the DNA of dire wolf fossils and the DNA of modern gray wolves. Scientists identified 14 different genes between the two species. These genes were edited into modern wolf cells using CRISPR. The modified cells were then used to create embryos, which were implanted into domestic dogs. In 2022 and 2023, 3 pups were born: Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. They have physical characteristics that are distinct from common wolves, such as a wider head, lighter fur, and behavior considered more reserved. Are they real dire wolves? There is still no scientific consensus on this issue. Colossal claims that the animals look and act like dire wolves. But to date, no peer-reviewed paper has been published describing the complete genome of the pups. In addition, recent genetic studies suggest that the dire wolf was not as closely related to modern wolves as previously thought. In fact, it belonged to a different genus, indicating that it evolved from gray wolves millions of years ago. This suggests that even with genetic engineering, it would be difficult to recreate an animal that is truly identical to the original, raising questions about the use of the term de-extinction. The cubs now live on a 2,000-acre monitored reserve in the United States. They have not been released into the wild, and the company says there are no immediate plans to do so. Colossal says the animals are being closely monitored throughout their lives, with a focus on ensuring that they are born healthy and that no adverse effects of the genetic process have manifested so far. This ongoing monitoring seeks to better understand the impacts of such profound genetic edits on complex mammals, a critical step before considering any larger-scale use or introduction into the wild. Colossal argues that these projects serve as technological platforms that can be applied to the conservation of existing species. One example cited is that of quolls, small Australian marsupials that are being genetically modified to resist toxins from cane toads, an invasive species. But critics point out that the company is also seeking visibility and investors, and that part of the focus may be on the media promise of species resurrection rather than on its real ecological applicability. The story of the dire wolf shows us how rapidly biotechnology is advancing, but also how the line between science and spectacle can be blurred. The animals created by Colossal are real and the result of genetic engineering, but it is still unclear whether they can be considered true representatives of an extinct species. Meanwhile, modern wolf populations face real threats, such as habitat loss and conflicts with humans. Perhaps before trying to bring back the past, we should take better care of the present. Still, it is important to recognize that this type of effort can indeed be relevant to the future of biodiversity conservation. The tools developed in this process can open up promising paths, and following all of this with a careful and critical eye is fascinating, to say the least. And you, what did you think of this experiment? Do you think de-extinction is a good idea or a dangerous distraction? And what's more, what animal would you like to see brought back to life? Tell us in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next content. Here, we analyze science calmly and without sensationalism. Until next time,